Okay, balik po tayo. So, tingnan natin ngayon, nakikita natin lahat itong mga problemang ito and we can understand some of the socio-political origins of a lot of these problems as well as a lot of the cultural origins of this problem. Pero siguro tanong natin dito, alam mo mula nagkaroon tayo ng independensya dito, walang tayong ginawa kundi mag-umpisa. Wala tayo natatapos. But it's not unique to the Muslims and this nation. Meron bang gobyerno rito ngayon nagawa ng matino na tinapos? So the question that I would ask you is this, no? Given the situation ngayon, Prof, anong tingin mo, anong assessment mo, other than to say we have to start again? Ano bang, can you not give something a little bit more substantive that may get the ball rolling?
Okay, let me go.
Other than to say, mag-give up kayo ng position ninyo.
Let me go something specific, Mr. Orosa.
Just please call me Ray.
Okay, I think the Digong administration was on the right track early in its first year.
Until?
Because of its project called Federalism and Charter Change.
Okay.
Now, I think this fits into what I call, what is really important, a kind of a social and political restructuring with policies coming from above. So, pasok na yung federalism, constitutional change, and so on. Now, that's one. The other part is what I call a cultural revolution from below. I mean, social reform. Then we have to change our mindset, our own way of looking at things, and we have to be inspired with new vision, instilled with new hope, and so on and so forth. Now, if you have political restructuring from above and cultural revolution from below, then you have the convergence. Now, ang hindi ko maintindihan...
Hindi ba yan nangyayari yan in theory, pero in the practical sense of it, become a problem. Take a look. We've had the ARMM for I don't know how long. Why is it that that place has not exhibited the same kind of growth as other parts of the Philippines? And it's not for lack of money. Because we have seen, as the history has shown us, a lot of some of the Muslim leaders
So
were
it's
getting
like this,
so much money from
like
the public
this,
coffers.
It's like this, Mr. Rosa. As I told you, that institutions called the ARM is a product of an arrangement, a compromise between the Philippine government and the Moro.
To leave them alone,
National
to do what they feel is
Now,
necessary for their part of the world.
When the peace agreement was signed between then President Ramos and Nur Mizuwari, there was a viable partnership formed. That's why we could say that the early days of the ARM, during the early days of President Ramos, was really working well.
Can I tell you something? Huwag ka magagalit, ha?
No, walang problema.
Teka muna.
Walang
Kasi
problema.
ganito,
But
no?
the succeeding administration did not
Iba.
follow through.
Okay.
Yun ang
Alright.
sinasabi ko, paulit-ulit tayo sa mga,
Okay.
mga
Pero hindi
ginagawa
yun, eh.
natin.
Pero ito sasabihin ko din sa iyo. Tapatan, wala kagalitan, ha? Tao lang tayo. Nag-organize ako ng symposium in Mindanao quite a few years back, panahon pa ni FBR ito. I invited somebody from I invited the MILF, I invited the MNLF to come and be present. Si Murad ang dumating, not Murad, but ano pangalan nitong vice chairman ng MILF ang dumating?
Ghazali Jafar,
Hindi, bago pa niya.
Iqbal, or Ali Mimbantas. So these are the names.
In any case.
Okay.
And then yung vice chairman ng MNLF ang dumating. And you know, we had about maybe 150 people in that symposium. All parts of government, etc. And the vice chairman of the MNLF stood up. And because the question is, bakit ba walang nangyayari ganito. And he said something that blew us all out of the water. He just said, the first 1 billion that the government gave for use by the MNLF, we do not know what happened to it.
Well,
Ang sinasabi ko dito, an argument that will put the onus of all obligation on the government is certainly not fair, because when you are in an ARMM, the quality of the leadership, the integrity of the leadership, the honesty of the leadership is just as important. And I am saying, let us at least both accept both of our shortcomings.
Right, right.
And do not just put the blame on the government for being
Right, right.
poor and not following through. When the first steps that were taken and they were given the money, nilustay nila.
Yun ang problema, no? Parang umihingi ng katarungan, ng hustisya, ang mga kapatid natin Muslim.
Oo.
Umihingi ng kalayaan, ng sariling pagpapasya. Pero dinadaan natin sa mga ganyang, ito na lang pera ang kailangan nyo. Tapos pag hindi maayos ang kalakaran ng mga institusyon doon, yan.
No, but that was not money given as a bribe.
We will embarrass them and so on and so forth. That's not the right thing to do.
As a result of the ARMM
It's not an
agreement.
issue of money. It's an issue of rights and in the quest for people for self-determination.
Okay.
Tapos ayusin natin yung political structure, the arrangement that I told you earlier. I think if that arrangement is put in place, you do not even need to give them money. They can run on their own.
All right. So what happened in the
You know,
ARMM
They can run
when
on their own.
Ampatuan was there, and how much money was found in his place?
It's a problem between
Billions.
It's a problem between the Ampatuan and the Arroyo administration, you know.
Well,
It's their own problem.
Kung yung ganun ang gagawin mo, di walang responsibilidad na tinatanggap
It's also
ang
the
Muslim
same problem
community.
with other traditional politicians in the area. Because the national government keeps on organizing or even legitimizing traditional political dynasties in the area.
Wala siguro
Because
makitang
doon
iba.
sila, yun ang pinagkukunan nila ng boto eh.
Well,
Yun ang
you
masama ron.
can always accuse
You
the
know.
national government of dealing with them simply for the purposes of producing votes. And I agree with you that there is some element of that, no?
Precisely.
Hindi natin tinatanggal. Pero wag mo naman hugasan yung mga leadership
we-
doon for not doing the right
Hindi
thing.
natin hinuhugasan. Tinitingnan na balance ang pagtingin natin.
Ay, kung
May problema ang pamahalaan, may problema ang Bangsamoro. It's a house divided. The leadership is in disarray. You have the Moro fronts, you have the traditional politicians, you have the traditional leaders, the sultans and the datus, and they could not put their house organize themselves and so
Maybe
on and so
that's
forth.
part of the problem.
This is
because
where
if all
leadership
we
should
do-
come in.
like,
I think the federalism project of Digong, ito sana yung viable arrangement na maaring that could unite them all. You know, ang hindi ko lang maintindihan, bakit itong mga huling buwan, medyo humina yung panawagan sa
can I
federalism.
tell you something? I used to push federalism. I was part of the commission that was pushing federalism and charter change. But you know, in our own private studies, we came to the conclusion that to institute federalism in this nation needed a preparatory period for the transition of probably 10 years.
Why?
In other words, because the laws that govern a federal form of government is not the same as a republican form of government. We did not start out as independent federal states. There were no states. You know, you cannot take a look